Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today I want to present you the Elco 80 feet PT-556. Now I hope you give me a few minutes to talk you through not just the ship but also the required playstyle, and after that I have for you a very nice playstyle playthrough or gameplay rather, that will actually then summarize all the things that I just said and theorized. So, the Elco 80 feet PT-556 is the American 3.0 battle rating rank 2 premium, and it's your most typical PT boat that you can imagine, as for the destroyer alternative. Compared to the Cowell, for the Americans we have it, and then for the Germans we have the Type M1943 as a alternative to the Z20. For the Russians I presented you already the MBK PR186 compared to the PR7U, and the same goes for the Fairmile, which I still have to present to you. But I think overall I had the most fun so far in the Elco 80 feet PT-556. Yes, I'm kind of an odd fish in this respect, as I am, loving my PT boats, and I want them to be a valuable part of the gameplay of ships, and to a certain degree they are. But there are certain problems that are a mixture of the map design and that are destroyers hunting them down, and also some other ships spawning with them that should not spawn with the PT boats because they are too strong. And I'm looking here at ships like the all-known LCS L3. I'm looking here at ships like the Type 140, 141 Jaguar, or something like the AFD1, SF40 Leichte, and for the Russians the MBKs, and a lot of those ships that actually have proper armor, whereas you then cannot do anything in a gun duel and they just lock down a huge area of the PT boat area. So in a summary, I think that the PT boat area should be bigger with if you will, a second layer of islands around the capture zone, so that you can actually spread out, that you can actually make an ambush coming out from behind an island and position yourself and just having some room to maneuver, if you will. And this brings me back to the Elco 80 feet PT-556. Now let's begin to talk about the ship itself. First of all, its main weapons is not the 37mm, which is not the best weapon there is, very situational, but rather the 20mm. One here in the front, and a quadruple 20mm Thunderbolt turret placement here in the back. While the firing arcs are good, you have to really be careful with your maneuvering, because the ship lists to one side or the other in a turn, and then that throws you off target. Furthermore, you can see here 4 beautiful fish, aka torpedoes, and with them you actually can make a torpedo pattern, so locking down a certain area. And as we'll see later on in the gameplay, this actually can work out. Sometimes it cannot, but it's better to have them as to not have them. The armament is accomplished by 2 double 50 cals. And so you have a good chance against enemy PT boats, you have a good chance against enemy aircraft, and you can actually, if you do it right with the torpedoes, continuously harass a very frequently area where you fire into the enemy direction where they have to go through to go into the cap. Furthermore, if you're doing it right, you also can harass with this tactic destroyers. But in a direct gun duel, this ship is very fragile, it has no armor, it's too big to actually avoid the shots at medium range, let's put it that way, like the LS or the G5, but it is also too small to absorb a lot of the incoming damage. And also the turret placement in the back, where your main firepower is something to be worried. Now, one thing about the 20mm is that the magazines here hold 60 rounds per gun or per 20mm, whereas with the Germans you have only 40 rounds per magazine. And so you have actually the burst damage to completely annihilate an enemy patrol boat with one clip, if you will, before you have to reload, which is very painful very often with the Germans, where you just don't have enough time to fire to just blacken every single section of an enemy ship. So how is your playstyle? Well, first of all, don't go for the nearest cap. Don't go for the close quarters fight where you then end up getting shot at from numerous directions, from numerous enemies. This ship cannot handle it. That's just simply not what it does. Go for the B cap, where you have more room to maneuver, or even for the far cap. You have the speed with 76 kilometers per hour. You have the maneuverability to actually go around the islands decently. You have the acceleration, and I think this is very important to know. So with having said this, I think it's time for the gameplay. And here we are on the Arabian Sea, and as you can see, I'm turning right away to the C cap, and I avoid fighting into B. Nevertheless, I look into B if there is anything that I can do. I try to use my speed here, and the theory is the following. There are 3 capture zones, and if I can control one of them, I already did 1/3 of the overall perfect domination game, and I already secured half of what my entire team needs to do. So this is always my thought. Winning is very rewarding in War Thunder, giving you 120% extra RP and 67% extra silver line. So I think that's a fair deal. There you can see there is the enemy Russian quick G5, and I got a kill assist on it. I didn't really burst fire it. There we can see the torpedo lead indicator is a bit buggy. Nevertheless, I still continue my fight. I have the gunners toggled to shoot at everything. There is actually an hydrofoil, and I think it's the German one, which is really, really dangerous in close quarters. So pay attention to it. And I think if it keeps its speed, it's very difficult to hit actually, and it's very difficult to knock out all modules with the aiming because it's just above the water, and I'm used to shoot directly at the water line. There is some situations where I draw a bit of attention, but yeah. The next thing that you need to keep in mind is that you need your magazines being full. So that means that sometimes you have to empty the clips, but you do not have that much ammunition. You only have, I think, 10 clips per 20mm, so 50 clips overall. That sounds a lot, but you can run out of them rather quickly. The same goes for the continued use of the torpedo patterns. That means if you have a cap, the far cap, try to keep it and try to make the best out of it. Yes, you can try to go in like Rambo, and that can be successful sometimes, but most of the time it isn't. You don't then use the strength that you have. There you can see I turn to the left and I cannot fire. Then I see here the hydrofoil and I focus fire it, and then I get an ammo rack detonation, I guess, or a ammo detonation. Then there is another one, and he's actually not firing at me, which is his undoing, as I focus him down gladly. Come on, there we go, and another kill. So you can see the 20mm offers you a lot of firepower. You can see I use the high explosive belt. Armor piercing has its place. It's always good to have some in the mixture, but not like 2 armor piercing and 1 high explosive. That's the least effective belt. High explosive kills the crew and damages the modules or sections rather of a ship. And there you can see how I launch the torpedoes in a certain pattern. I use here the lead indicator, the green lead indicator or launch indicator, and I want to use a certain pattern. And now I want to stay within the capture zone to refill here the torpedoes, to get in the magazines back, and just to chill and secure it. If anybody is coming around the corner, he has to deal with me. Some allies now are with me, and they're going around the island, which is very beneficial. I see an S-100 and I cannot resist. This one is already dead. And I'm playing with the thought, should I go around the island and should I deal with him? There is one which is outside of 2 kilometers. That's important because 20mm have a maximum range of effective before the bullets disappear of 2 kilometers or 2,000 meters. They are more like a short range to medium range weapon. And this ship excels at, I'd say, medium range, where you can actually dictate it, or at close range when you have to jump on an enemy. And there you can see he is misaiming, and I misaimed in the beginning as well. Then I find the range, and then I aimed for the rear of the ship, knocked out a gun turret, and actually damaged the last section to such a degree that all his crew was dead. That's actually a misconception. It's not knocking out all the crew, but a certain acceptable level of crew, which then is rendered as 0%. If then you kill one more crew member, you actually kill the ship with that with a crew knockout. Other ways to kill a ship are obviously with a torpedo hit, or with a bomb hit, or with an ammo detonation. Or sometimes if you use very high caliber HE, you can hull break them, and also if you hit the bridge, that is, and you also can ammo rack them with a torpedo hit. If you hit the torpedo, this is why, for all intents and purposes, if I have a light cruiser, very often I drop the torpedoes to not get torpedo ammo rack. You remember now the launch of the torpedoes? They are not that fast, but they have a range of above 3.5 kilometers, so you can use them in the PT pod area very well. Then there is the LS, I kill it, and there is an aircraft, I get a double kill, then I get the aircraft, and that was one torpedo hit, but there were 3 torpedoes in the water that were aimed very well, and so it's just a roundabout. Now, where I get another one. So those were 4 kills in quick succession. So you can see now on the bottom left corner that the front section of my ship is black. So I want to make the tactical play to hide behind this island to actually have an ambush. Now you can see when the ship is stationary, it rolls quite a bit, but nevertheless I have to jump here on this enemy patrol boat, and I actually knock it out. It was a PT-314, but I'm stationary, another aircraft got killed, and then the bombs drop. While it was not a direct hit, it was close enough. So there we have it, 1 capture zone, 2 aircraft, 9 kills, 4 kill assists, and we actually managed to win this battle. I got a lot of silver lines and a lot of RP, but I didn't make the screenshots, you know, because it's me. So I love this ship as a good teacher, as something fun, maneuverable and fast, but it doesn't really it's not really that effective in close quarters, in going in and taking on the entire enemy team. This is not what it does, it's too fragile. Nevertheless, I personally, for myself, would recommend it, but obviously other people might have other thoughts on this. So let me know in the comment section, give this video a like if you did, and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see each other on the waves of War Thunder.